Janice Gassam Asare, Decentering Whiteness in the Workplace, a Guide for Equity and Inclusion. And Decentering Whiteness in the Workplace, a Guide for Equity and Inclusion, Janice Gassam Asare embarks on a profound exploration of how entrenched cultural norms of whiteness have shaped workplace environments, perpetuating imbalances and hindering true diversity. This book unravels the historical constructs of whiteness, detailing their pervasive impact on today's work culture. Asare guides readers through real-world scenarios, illustrating how subtle biases manifest in policies and day-to-day interactions, marginalizing non-white individuals. By providing tangible steps to decenter these biases, she not only addresses equity but also emphasizes the transformative power of inclusive practices for organizational success. Throughout, the essence lies in moving beyond superficial diversity gestures to foster genuine cultural shifts, unlocking innovation, and enhancing employee well-being. This book is a vital read for anyone looking to understand and combat the systemic barriers to equity in the workplace.
Understanding whiteness. Whiteness is more than a skin color or ethnicity. It represents the cultural dominance of European norms and values imposed globally, particularly during the era of colonial expansion. This concept signifies a social and legal framework designed to maintain privilege and power over Black, Indigenous, and marginalized groups. In the United States, whiteness was instrumental in the colonial period, where English and Northern European settlers distinguished themselves from Africans and indigenous peoples, thereby justifying their oppressive and dehumanizing practices. Traits such as wealth, Protestantism, light skin, and education became markers of privilege. As the nation expanded, the notion of whiteness strategically evolved to include a broader range of European immigrants like the Irish, Italians, and Poles. This expansion aimed to solidify a collective identity that maintained superiority over non-white communities, particularly after the abolition of slavery in 1865. Despite formal emancipation, systemic disenfranchisement continued, with marginalized groups denied essential rights like property ownership, voting, and citizenship. The construct of whiteness upheld inequities through violent and oppressive means from the post-slavery era to the 1960s. Today, traces of this construct persist subtly within professional environments. Workplace norms or policies may disproportionately favor characteristics aligned with white identities, often without conscious intent. For instance, Eurocentric names might receive preferential treatment in recruitment, whereas employees with English as a second language might encounter biases against their speech patterns. Grooming standards can implicitly regard non-European hairstyles as unprofessional, impacting those who don't fit these norms. These daily interactions, seemingly minor, create power dynamics and feelings of exclusion or validation in workplaces, influencing who feels comfortable bringing their full selves to work, who contributes to critical projects, and who represents the organization publicly. Acknowledging and addressing the influence of historically ingrained whiteness is essential for fostering inclusive environments. Recognizing the pervasiveness of implicit bias is a crucial step in dismantling these systemic patterns and ensuring equity in modern corporate culture. Reimagining workplace culture. Remember Julia from the introduction? She struggled to understand Shonda's experiences with racial discrimination during their diversity meeting. Julia isn't alone, many perpetuate similar dynamics without harmful intentions. Take Marcus, for instance, a marketing manager new to his team retreat. Despite his eagerness, cultural biases embedded in his workplace leave him feeling isolated. His colleagues unintentionally prioritize traditions familiar to white employees, from the foods chosen for meals to recreational activities revolving around European sports. These subtle messages suggest that Marcus, the only non-white leader, shouldn't bring his cultural nuances into the space. Such micromessages quietly convey that embracing and acknowledging cultural differences isn't a priority. Over time, these interactions create significant stress for employees of color, who find themselves hiding their identities to fit into environments dominated by white norms. This isn't about overt hatred, it's about the invisible pressures of a biased system that dampens inclusivity and stifles innovation. The result? Employees feel alienated, and organizations miss out on the rich array of talents, ideas, and insights that diverse perspectives bring. This dynamic, reminiscent of the curb-cut effect, whereby a solution for one group benefits many, highlights the importance of inclusivity. By intentionally focusing on marginalized groups in decision-making processes, organizations can foster environments that encourage diverse perspectives. This leads to innovative solutions and benefits everyone involved. Balancing the power held by dominant groups with the perspectives of marginalized ones ensures originality and progress in societal conversations across business, politics, and education. Simply celebrating diversity through token gestures like ethnic cuisines and holiday acknowledgements isn't enough. Instead, creating equitable systems is essential. Such a shift doesn't just promote inclusion and belonging, it catalyzes organizational performance through diverse innovation and problem-solving. Leaders who prioritize marginalized voices not only elevate underrepresented talent but also become architects of the transformative change that society urgently requires. Decentering workplace whiteness. Transforming workplace culture requires moving beyond mere acknowledgement of the issues tied to centering whiteness. The effort to embrace inclusivity, diversity, and equality should begin by dismantling initial barriers often cemented by implicit biases. These biases shape job requirements that can disadvantage candidates of color, often emphasizing degrees or qualifications not always accessible to marginalized groups. Start with a keen examination of what truly serves the role, aligning qualifications with the actual needs of the job rather than tradition or comfort. Pay close attention to language in job descriptions. They can carry hidden biases that inadvertently favor certain demographics. Proactively seek candidates through minority-serving institutions and networks, aiming to uplift marginalized voices. Anonymize applications in early stages to ensure candidates are evaluated on their merits, free from bias. Develop inclusive evaluation methods that apply equally to everyone, gathering input from diverse employees to refine job descriptions. This ensures inclusivity while reinforcing a safe environment for honest feedback. Conduct interviews with consistent questions tied to the role's actual demands, sidestepping informal chats that might invite bias. Diverse hiring panels can balance perspectives, while unconventional hiring paths, like referrals, should focus on promoting diversity rather than recurring exclusions. A culture shift requires more than increased representation, it's about responsibility and education. Quantify experiences of discrimination through anonymous workplace surveys to uncover and address inequities. Create safe zones for marginalized employees to voice their struggles, using this data to shape interventions. Leaders should transparently showcase their accountability in enacting meaningful changes, bolstered by tangible anti-racist education initiatives, like speaker series or book clubs. Avoid asking minoritized groups to shoulder this burden for free, compensate their emotional labor. Performance reviews for leaders must link directly to real changes in inclusion and cultural equity, not just surface-level policies. Highlight and reward those who bravely confront tough truths about themselves and past organizational actions, illuminating a path where leaders visibly hold themselves accountable for authentic progress. Centering genuine change. Confronting and actively transforming the ingrained focus on whiteness is imperative for fostering truly anti-racist cultures that celebrate justice and shared humanity. Consider Marcus, a solitary non-white leader who initially felt isolated at a retreat due to exclusive activities and menus. His courage to voice these feelings prompted leaders to respond with empathy and a commitment to embrace change. As the team co-created agreements to honor diverse voices, Marcus experienced a newfound sense of belonging. He could fully contribute his innovative ideas to the team, enhancing their success. Similarly, Gabriella faced persistent challenges in her workplace, being overlooked for tasks and spoken over in meetings. A diversity survey unveiled these inequities, leading to systemic audits and new mentoring programs she helped design for marginalized staff. Seeing leaders confront their biases in training programs encouraged Gabriella to step into a management role where she could spearhead further reforms. These stories underscore that true change involves more than inviting diversity into flawed systems. It calls for cross-cultural collaboration to create fair structures that honor everyone's dignity, paving the way for meaningful dialogue on race and reshaping power dynamics. Organizations must embrace comprehensive transformation, not just implement superficial fixes. By utilizing data to uncover hidden inequalities and listening to marginalized voices regarding their needs, workplaces can center struggles for justice and human rights. This approach transcends superficial multiculturalism, driving toward reconciliation and collective liberation through truth and solidarity. Real progress demands facing the realities of institutional racism head-on, ensuring that change is both deep-rooted and enduring. Empathy's deeper realm. Meet Julia, a woman on a quest to truly understand empathy beyond surface-level emotions. Her journey began at a workplace diversity meeting where she realized her well-meaning attempt at empathizing with Shonda, a colleague facing discrimination, left her feeling uneasy. Julia saw herself as open-minded, yet she couldn't shake the tension, realizing that her empathy may have inadvertently centered her own white experience. Instead of burdening Shonda to explain, Julia took proactive steps, joining a book club focused on workplace equity and enrolling in anti-racist training. Through these experiences, Julia uncovered the subtle biases that often frame white experiences as universal. Julia's story invites profound questions. Does empathy merely bridge cultural gaps, or can it also uphold blind spots and privilege? While empathy aims for unity, misguided approaches might ignore marginalized realities, seeking harmony at others' expense. True empathy must go beyond surface-level connections to promote policies and systems that uplift everyone's dignity. When grounded in justice, shared humanity, and courageous compassion, empathy possesses transformative power. This deeper empathy dismantles barriers, acknowledges diverse struggles, and informs decisions with moral care. It thrives when marginalized voices are amplified, expanding its potential beyond cultural limitations. By acknowledging interconnection, wisdom and innovation flourish, leading to visionary societal change. Empowered by empathy rooted in justice, we can build systems that uplift everyone, especially those long disempowered. Julia's journey concludes with a call to action. Championing empathy intertwined with justice ensures a collective push towards a better, more inclusive future.
As we conclude our journey through decentering whiteness in the workplace, key takeaways emerge with clarity. Firstly, the pervasive nature of whiteness, historically rooted and legally maintained, manifests in modern work environments, subtly yet significantly impacting marginalized groups. By understanding these dynamics, organizations can identify and dismantle these biases, creating spaces where all individuals feel seen, respected, and empowered. Asare emphasizes that meaningful change necessitates action beyond cosmetic diversity efforts, from genuine policy revisions to leadership accountability and cross-cultural collaboration. The book argues that only by embracing justice-driven empathy can organizations truly unlock the full potential of their diverse talent pools, driving innovation and forging sustainable, inclusive growth. In doing so, this vital commitment to equity does more than level the playing field, it enriches the entire organization, making equity and inclusion a source of strength and brilliance.